obviously it's important to get this enthusiasm back, right?
Let us say enthusiasm doesn't have to be exuberant.
Okay. It can be like a flash, maybe? Like a what I mean by
Uh,
that is when I see an
aha,
object. Yeah.
aha, I see that object.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Be
Yeah, like
willing to
so
see it as opposed to, oh no, here it comes again, and now I've got to dedicate myself to getting rid of it, which is the way that you're doing it.
sometimes it goes into that. Yeah. And it goes into that when I get tired. When the energy goes down, I think is when that happens for me. No, we won't make any conclusions. It's even there
Okay.
now. There's not
Well,
there's not like a, oh, I'm so happy to you know how I told you last night? I said that when I see dukkha as an opportunity, like that's great. That's great to see it because now that I can see it, it's my access to freedom. But like no amount of telling myself that right now is bringing back that enthusiasm. It's like that slippery eel concept. I can't.
well, you're still wanting something. Every time that I give you, let us say, a wholesome thought, you get the rule of, oh, I've got to have that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And so when we use words like enthusiasm or eager, then you think that, oh, I've got to be enthusiastic and eager all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of all the times in there rather
Mm-hmm.
than allowing yourself to understand that everything is in turmoil. Everything is back and forth. Sometimes you
Yes.
feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. And that's okay for you to see that flow, to see the ups and downs, and to be satisfied with that cycle of things.
I
Sometimes
see.
you feel super enthusiastic, and sometimes you have no enthusiasm. But over the whole cycle of things, there is enthusiasm for watching the whole cycle of sometimes you
Uh,
feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't.
okay. Okay. So I see. I
And
think I
there
see what you're
is
saying
nothing
right
that's
now.
going
So
to be an all the time of anything. There is nothing, anything all the time. Everything is in flux.
yeah. So I see what you're saying now. Then it sounds like the source of my dissatisfaction is that once I experience that like ounce of joy or that enthusiasm or the satisfaction or whatever it's even feeling really good, even though I'm okay to some degree of it going away, I'm really not. I'm really clinging to that
Mm-hmm.
joy, like needing that to stay there. And then I
Uh-huh.
think the enthusiasm is what I need to get back there. No, the enthusiasm is what I need to enjoy it all as it is.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's what it is. I see it
Just
now. I
okay,
see it. It's
just
like,
how things, whatever it is in this present moment, you
yeah,
can, that's okay. That's good enough.
like it's okay if I don't know how many wholesome thoughts to have. It's okay if I don't, if it's okay if I'm feeling really great in one mind moment and then all of a sudden there's a mental object of dukkha in the next. Like that's
Hmm.
all okay. And it's about having the enthusiasm to like, to accept that, to enjoy it. Hmm.
To keep looking, to keep watching. That's the enthusiasm is going to keep it going, to keep looking. Or in this case, that we were talking about, keep calling the dog.
This is
Keep
interesting. This
summoning
is
the
like,
mind.
this
Keep bringing
makes,
the mind back.
yeah, Dan was telling me about this book called A Man's Search for Meaning by
Hmm.
Viktor Frankl. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's about
If
this
it
guy.
wasn't written 50 years ago, I haven't read it.
It actually was it was
I
written.
didn't read everything that was written 50 years ago.
Yeah. But it's about this guy. He's a Holocaust survivor, and he's a psychotherapist, and it's about his story of
I think
basically.
all the Holocaust survivors are psychotherapists.
But basically, what he said is
That's how
that,
they survived.
y- yeah, but about him specifically, something that stood out to Dan is that the one thing that they weren't able to take away was his attitude. Out of everything, they took his clothes, they took his hair, they took his life, his materialism, whatever, but they couldn't take away his attitude. And so the whole book is about how he cultivated this attitude in the face of what he went through. And
Mhm.
it's interesting. It's kind of like the analogy of like chewing on nails while smiling is kind of what comes up to me as
Ah,
well.
but
Like,
I have been a builder also, and I have had a mouthful of nails and could smile. The point is that you don't have to chew on them.
mm,
And so that means you can have nails in your life, but you don't have to chew on them.
mm, I see.
Be
Okay.
satisfied just having the nails there.
This is such a you must know this is such like a mind this is such a mind warp. It's such a
I,
twister. It really
it is.
is.
It is. It's because we have been taught Western mentality, a Western way of looking at things since we were children. And this whole system of the Buddha is to turn everything upside down.
Everything upside down. This makes so much sense. So, hey, at least I can carry that as my compass. Dukkha Nirodha is upside down from what I
Yeah.
think it is.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's not
And
visible to me.
all I have to
But
do is just be satisfied.
yeah, all I have to do
And
is
I
it's not.
remember to come back and be satisfied, to call the mind away from whatever dukkha, whatever mess it's in, and bring it back home.
It's not about
That's
staying satisfied.
not
It's
about
not.
staying
It's
satisfied.
about
Well, it is a bit in, but not permanently.
not permanently.
Permanently,
Yeah.
but
So
being able to just be satisfied for a short period of time, maybe 5 minutes or so,
right,
10
right.
minutes.
Okay. So it's like going into first and second and third and fourth jhana, like that stuff is not something that we need to have our attention on, right? We can just follow this practice.
When you have satisfaction 100% in the sense of in this moment, is that that's your object. The only thing that you're interested in and the only thing that you look at is how satisfied you are.
Mm,
Taking that as the object, taking that rather than the gladdening the mind, because in fact we needed to concentrate on gladdening the mind for a bit in order to get ourselves into the state of satisfaction. Once we're in the state of satisfaction, now we begin to focus on that.
okay, okay.
And when we focus on that, we get that wow sensation back again. And here you've been trying to go from dukkha all the way to wow without going through the intermediate steps that you need to get there.
The rules that you're saying are not there.
Uh, well, the rule that you're making is you got to get it
Hmm.
rather than all I really need to do is to remember to look at what we're doing and to have the effort to change it to gladdening the mind. We keep looking at the gladdening of the mind, and as we're looking at gladdening the mind, then we begin to feel better. These are natural processes, not rules. And then as we feel better, then we begin to notice that and we begin to take that as the object of this is what we're looking at. And as we do that, we begin to get the attitude, wow, I can feel so good right now. I can feel good anytime I want to.
I've had
All I
that.
have to do is remember that I can feel good like that, and that gives us that attitude. But you see, you don't have the attitude because you've got the rule. You should do that all the time rather than, wow, I can do it all the time. Completely different mental state.
Mm,
To having that, wow, I can do this anytime I want to because I can call the mind back wherever it goes. can go onto the computer, it can go to the toilet, it can go down the block, it can go into an automobile accident. There's all kinds of places the mind will go when you're in the world.
So if I want to start gladdening the mind right now, right now, first thing to do, right, is notice the dukkha, right? And then congratulate myself on seeing that and then
If there is dukkha,
focus.
and if there is none, then you can congratulate yourself that there is no dukkha. Well,
Or
I
if
do feel good now. Now you just wake up and says, things really are really great. I don't have to do anything because I already feel good.
mm,
So there's not always going to be dukkha there. Congratulate yourself when there's not. And the more you practice this, the better the skill will be, and the more often it will happen that you will just simply wake up to the fact that you're not in dukkha right now.
yeah. Okay.
But if you wake up and you are in dukkha, now we take the right effort to say, hey, I don't need that. I see you. Out you go. And now I can feel good. It's a very, very easy, simple process. But when you add rules to it, it gets really complicated.
Okay. Well, I'm trying my best.
Don't do that either. That's that's just a rule. Don't try and don't best. You've never done your best. That's the wrong attitude because when we say that we're doing our best, that's already, let us say, an excuse for failure.
Mhm.
Look how hard I tried. A much better example of my best. I've never even bothered to piddle with what my best is because my 40% is actually quite excellent. It's good enough. Why should I try to get absolutely up to my best? Why should we do our best?
Mm.
That in fact, I've actually had professors in the university tell me things like that, and that he says, just answer the question. Don't feed back to me the entire lecture series.
Mm.
Just answer the little question. You don't have to make it all complete and perfect and everything like that, which is, I mean, I can see that in you too. You want to get it all right. You want to get it all nailed down. You don't have to. Just answer the little question of, am I satisfied right now? That's just such a simple little question.
And what if the answer is no?
Then, I see there's no satisfaction, and I know just what to do with that. I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to talk myself right into satisfaction.
Okay.
I'm really satisfied that I'm not dissatisfied, that I'm unsatisfied. We keep looking for the satisfaction. But
Right.
in fact, I've rephrased it from joy because the students would say, "Oh well, I have joy. It's just not enough." In
Mhm.
other words, it's unsatisfactory joy.
Mm.
But if things are satisfaction, if things are satisfactory, then your joy is satisfying too.
Okay.
But if you're trying to get it right, you'll never be satisfied. There's a game that's played called whataboutism. What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? What about this? What about that? And that leads into confusion. And if you can see that, you say, I don't have to ask any of those questions. What about we don't need right now? We can just relax. As Murphy says, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and it'll go wrong at the worst possible moment. But if the attitude is that every worst possible moment I'm going to have sati, and therefore every worst possible moment I can handle that too. I'm satisfied that I'm going to have worst possible moments, and I'm going to handle them quite well. Thank you.
Even if I'm just a little satisfied. Right now, I could say I'm a little satisfied.
That's all we need,
That's
because
great.
because that's what we got to practice, is being a little bit satisfied. This is okay.
This is good.
The example that I would
Congratulations.
use there is that somebody wants to learn to play the piano. They go buy a piano. They go to the music store, buy a lot of music. They sign up for music classes and a teacher. They go to their first lesson, and then after that, they play football all day or watch TV, but they're not practicing the piano. If they're not practicing the piano, it doesn't matter how much they want to learn to play the piano. If they're not practicing the piano, they're not going to learn to play the piano, right? Take that example for satisfaction. If you're practicing satisfaction, even if you're practicing Johnny one note satisfaction, find at least one thing to be satisfied with and practice satisfaction. Pretty
Would you
soon you
say
can
part
add
of
two notes
would you say
and have
part of
two things.
gladdening the mind could be holding that object of just a little satisfaction,
Yeah, right. I'm a little bit satisfied,
focusing
just
on it?
enough.
Okay.
Just a dab will do you. Just a little dab of satisfaction will do you.
Okay.
Just a little satisfaction, just a little bit. But we keep coming back to that over and 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 over again. We keep coming back to remembering that it's okay for me to be satisfied right now.
It's okay for me to be just a little satisfied right now.
Mhm.
This is good. This is better than the contrary. I'll take this.
Mhm.
This is nice.
And so let that eventually start to grow. But if you've got no satisfaction, then whatever you're practicing, it's not satisfaction right then. But if you do have satisfaction, now we can practice that
So you got to get
by
the
gladdening the mind.
satisfaction. You have to see the
Mhm.
satisfaction first,
And the way
which
that we get that is by gladdening the mind or by talking ourselves into it with wholesome thoughts. And after the wholesome thoughts, then we begin to feel satisfied. And so then we take satisfaction itself as an object. Ah, yes, I do feel satisfied. Wow, it feels so good to be satisfied. Not a worry in the world, no place to go, comfortable, secure, and satisfied. Really not a lot of work to it.
um well, yesterday you mentioned that I was making progress and you congratulated me. Is what I'm saying now, is
It's just
that
part of the path. Yes, there's many
just part of it?
skills to be developed.
So
Throwing
it's
axes at illusionary dukkha is a skill to be developed.
and it's
Becoming
normal to
satisfied.
have like a flux in the progress. It's not going to be like,
It's up and down, back and forth. Sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't.
okay, cool.
Can you be satisfied when you feel like a nut? And can you be satisfied when you don't?
I can be satisfied right now. It's interesting. I just noticed a little satisfaction and satisfaction can be the same. Because when I say like I'm just a little satisfied, that's the same as saying I'm satisfied. Because when I say I'm satisfied, I'm imagining that it's some kind of conceptual, like complete satisfaction that's always here. And that's the biggest amount of satisfaction I'm imagining. But I'm imagining it, it doesn't
Right.
exist.
Yes, it doesn't. Exactly.
So
Let's
if I'm
look at the
satisfied right
satisfaction.
now, I'm satisfied. Like
Mm.
that's it. That's a
Yeah.
victory. There's no I act as if there's some someday satisfaction.
Right. A rule of satisfaction that
Yeah.
you're supposed to attain rather than actually the experience. Well, right now I feel good. I don't have to get that kind of satisfaction. I'm satisfied with not having that kind of satisfaction.
Yeah. It's just crazy because I just saw that I've been saying a little because I'm putting a standard on it. Like it can only be a little satisfying. It can't be satisfying. Oh, it can be satisfying. And if that satisfying is a little, that's okay. I
That's
don't have to
okay.
I don't have to point it out though. I don't have to point it out like, oh, it's a little satisfying.
Hmm.
It's just satisfying. If there's satisfaction, there's satisfaction. There's no argument about it. There's satisfaction. Great,
Mm.
right?
Yes, that's what I've been trying to tell you
I
all
see it.
along. But
I see it. Yeah. I really do
if
see it.
if it's
I've been
not a big satisfaction, it's
yeah,
not satisfying. Is the
right.
old way of looking at it.
Right. And I've been seeing it as like a 0 to 10 scale, and there's no scale. It's said
There's no
there's
scale.
either satisfaction or there's not.
Hmm. This will do. A
This will
little dab
do.
will do. Yeah.
I love that. That just like changed my whole world. Because I could be like, oh wow, there's satisfaction here. I must be winning. I must be doing something right. This is great.
Yeah. Fine.
Congratulations. I feel good.
But look at all the skills that you had to develop in order to be able to come now to this point. So
Mhm.
you can congratulate yourself for all of the axe throwing and the
All
waving
the
and all of that
oh
kind of
yeah,
stuff because it's just all of the process of getting the mind into that wholesome state
yeah,
so that you can be satisfied.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Mhm.
Mhm.
Congratulations. This feels good.
Well, don't go too far with that because you ain't seen nothing yet. Is the old. But let's work with satisfaction.
All right.
Let's work with being coming out of our dissatisfaction. Because if you have a very high standard for satisfaction that you can't get,
Yes.
then you're dissatisfied with your satisfaction,
Yes.
which is dukkha.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
It's like a losing game.
Hmm.
Man, that's crazy. Like I can see that. I can see that. Like that's crazy. Like I've been saying a little satisfaction, like as if there's more than that little satisfaction, which there may be, but I act as if like that's
Let us
important
say it
and it's
this
not.
way, that satisfaction is a skill to be developed.
A skill to be developed. And if there's a little satisfaction,
Action.
that's evidence I'm developing the
That's
skill.
the skill. Precisely so.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's turn our attention toward the evidence that I'm developing the skill rather than the lack of
Right.
satisfaction that I'm wanting,
Mhm.
which is also dukkha. So hello satisfaction. Whatever satisfaction is there, that's a gift. It's satisfaction. Some satisfaction might be sweet, some might be sour, some might be savory, but if it's satisfaction, that's good. We're we're
Mhm.
we're in the right um and I'm not gonna say right. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm fine. I'm satisfied.
Comfortable. Comfortable.
Yeah, we're in a comfortable zone, comfortable
Mhm.
temperature.
Mm. All right. Well, let's go ahead and finish now because I think that there's no place else to go for right now because we gotten to a point of satisfaction, and
Yeah,
that's really great.
yeah.
Congratulations for
Thank
being
you.
satisfied.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll see you.
Okay. See you later, Dhammarato. Thank you.
Wow, what a satisfying this.
Well, wow, how satisfying.
All right. See ya.
Okay. Bye.